Thank you all for coming. I'm sorry you had to wait so long, but here we are. My name is Patrick Ocampo. I am a professional moderator by trade, graduate of St. Edward's University, and we are here to do a panel discussing the ethics of advertising, the good and the bad. Joining me today are three panelists. We have Maximo Goglia, representing the U.S. Department of Health and Human Resources. We have Kalisa Siahan, representing the Alcohol Advisory Council Youth Drinking Monitor. And finally, the lovely Sophia Ferrari, representing the International Center of Alcohol Policies. Now on to the meat and bones of this presentation, of panel. I will ask the panelists three questions, each having 1.5 to 2 minutes to answer. And I ask the audience to please hold your questions to the end, where we'll have 5 minutes for a Q&A session. And with that, I again like to thank you all representing the different liquor and tobacco corporate firms, as well as those here. And with that, let us begin. My first question here is for all three of you. What are your stances on advertising ethics? Maximo, we'll start with you.
Thank you. As Patrick said, my name is Maximo Goglia, and I'm an employee at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Resources. Concerning advertising ethics, I am against the advertisements of alcohol and tobacco-related products. I believe that they're more harmful than they are good because they greatly increase the amount of youth drinkers in America, and as a result, there are more alcoholics and heavy smokers all over the nation. Also, over the last couple of years, there's been a reduction of commercials of these sorts because people are starting to become aware that they are a negative aspect of our society. The reason we want to eliminate these commercials are because the exposure to young teenagers gives them basically a fake reality of what it really means, these alcohol-related drugs. They think that to have fun and be cool, they need to drink and smoke. Also, these companies use certain tactics to entice teenagers to consume these products. For example, for boys, they use power and humor to attract them, and for girls, they use glamour and beauty in the commercials. They also use a variety of popular musics and very colorful aspects to attract to the younger audience. These are just a couple of things of why I'm against the advertisements of alcohol and tobacco-related products.
Thank you, Maximo. Kalisa, same question. What is your stance on advertising ethics?
My name is Kalisa Siahan, as Patrick said, and I'm a representative of the ALAC Youth Drinking Monitor. I'm against the advertising of alcohol towards minors, but not against permitting firms to be able to promote their products. They have the right to do that, and after all, alcohol is a legal substance. Therefore, I think it's up to the individual themselves to be able to control their addiction and their consumption. So clearly, the advertising of alcoholic products have been having a negative impact on society. Examples of this can be seen in the drinking trends in New Zealand. So ALAC conducted studies, and it has been shown that a third of the 14 to 17-year-olds are already considered heavy drinkers, which is pretty astonishing. Between 1995 to 2000, young people are increasing their frequency of drinking and their typical consumption. They drink about 42 to 110 different occasions every week per year, with about 3 to 7 typical consumption drink. So this is a very astonishing trend amongst teenagers, especially since they are the ones who are most vulnerable to the effects of alcohol.
Okay, thank you, Kalisa. And now, Sophia, the same question. What's your stance on advertising ethics?
Hi, I'm Sophia Ferrari, and I'm for alcohol and tobacco advertising, but I think that there should be some restrictions. First, I think that people is capable and have the right to decide for themselves if they want to buy or not. I think that advertisement doesn't force anyone to buy anything. It only shows people what is in the market. Also, alcohol drinks are very common in a lot of countries, are part of their culture. Responsible drinking is very common as a common feature of a balanced life in a lot of different societies. And decision to drink by adults or young people is not a cause of advertisement. It's also motivated by lifestyles and different cultures. But in the other hand, I think that there should be some restrictions. And for example, I think that advertisements should not be shown in prime time because children and teenagers usually watch TV at this time, and children may be vulnerable to the advertisements.
Thank you very much, Sophia. Now on to my second question, which is actually for you, Sophia. Do you think there is a relationship between alcohol advertising and people's drinking patterns?
No, I don't think so, and according to the European School Survey Project on Alcohol and Other Drugs report, there is no clear relationship between advertisement and regulations with drinking patterns or problems among youth. In some countries, including in this study, alcohol advertisement has been banned, and in others, there is a reliance on self-regulation industry to ensure responsible drinking. And for example, in Ireland, that is a country that has banned advertising and has a lot of restrictions to several types of drinks, has one of the highest rates of intoxication among youth. And in Italy, on the other hand, it has one of the lowest rates of intoxication, but even though there is a reliance on self-regulation in the industry of advertisement. So the conclusion is that the patterns, drinking patterns and problems among youth are not caused by advertisement, but are caused by the cultures of the countries.
Thank you very much. And now for my third question for Max and Kalisa. What are your opinions on the negative effects advertising have on the public? Max, let's start with your answer.
Well, on the negative effects of advertising, I believe there are two main reasons why it's negative for our society and our environment. Number one would be, for example, according to the Encyclopedia of Children regarding alcohol, there are over 2,600 ads in over 15 television programs that are very popular with teenagers and are actually targeted towards teenagers. Is one of the leading cause of underage drinking, which is illegal here in the United States if you're under 21. The second main reason is that this repeated exposure over and over of these commercials while you're watching your favorite TV shows can lead to much more serious problems than those drugs themselves. Because alcohol and tobacco products are also known as gateway drugs, which lead to more intense and hardcore drugs, which are highly addictive, and they are also increase the much higher risk of death as a result of taking these drugs. Also, when it comes to alcohol and drinking for minors, what tends to happen is that they end up drinking and driving, or driving while intoxicated, and this is one of the main leading causes of accidents in car accidents. These are just a couple of negative effects of advertising that has been a common trend throughout the society, and this is why it should be stopped.
Thank you. Kalisa, your answer?
Alright, like Maximo, I feel that all this false advertising is constantly associating alcohol with positive things, and it leads people to certain beliefs and expectations about alcohol. So people start drinking at an early age. It's a huge concern for the youth, especially since they're the huge target market of the alcoholic products. It establishes whether or not people become alcoholics in the future. So according to Dr. Guro Brundtland, who is the General Director of Sweden's WHO, he claims that large marketing resources that are directed towards influencing youth behavior found it difficult in creating a balanced attitude towards alcohol. Especially since teenagers are at the point of their lives where they're developing their personalities, they are experiencing disproportionate harm when they're drinking to the same amount that an older person would experience. Development-wise, I feel that it's harmful because teens are currently going through rapid brain growth. So, of course, drinking is not a good idea at this point in their lives. Also, teens are more behaviorally prone to being risk-taking. As Maximo said, it's sort of like a gateway drug to other hardcore things, other hardcore drugs. in the future.
Okay, thank you. And now to wrap up our presentation, our three panelists have stated their stances on advertising, specifically for drugs and alcohol. Maximo is strictly against, citing many of the negative effects it has on the public, specifically the youth. Kalisa is in between, citing those same negative effects, but at the same time saying that they could just be a little bit more responsible with them. And Sophia supports the advertising, also acknowledging restrictions, but citing that the products are still legal, but could still use responsibility. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming to this panel, and we'd like to open the floor for questions. Yes?
Would lowering the drinking age have a beneficial impact to the public?
I'll direct that question to Kalisa. The question was, would lowering drinking age have a beneficial impact on the public?
Well, I would have to say yes and no, because I feel implying these restrictions in the first place is sort of a temptation for teenagers to drink alcohol. It's sort of like the forbidden fruit concept. I feel that it will reduce drinking problems in the future, because that way teenagers will be able to learn at home how to drink more responsibly and moderately, so that they don't do anything silly in the future. As I said earlier, the whole false advertising thing causes teens to believe that drinking is something that mature people do, but really it's up to the individual themselves to control and moderate their drinking, and that's sort of the evidence of maturity there. Also, problems will be reduced when lowering the drinking age. Like in different countries, for instance, there are less problems with regards to minors and possession, stuff like that. But regardless of age restrictions, I feel that the teenagers will always get their hands on drinks anyway, so there shouldn't really be a restriction, but at the same time we should lower it since we can't really get rid of that age restriction.
Are there any other questions? Yes, ma'am?
What restrictions should be placed on tobacco and alcohol advertising?
Okay, Sophia, I will direct that question for you. The question was, what other restrictions should be placed on advertising for tobacco and alcohol?
As I said before, I think that advertisement for tobacco and alcohol should not be shown in prime time. And also I think that the companies should create campaigns where focus on showing the attractive things of the brand and not encouraging people to drink without control or in excessive way. And I also think that alcohol advertisements should not be marked towards those that are under the drinking age. And in the case of any country that has no drinking age, I think that they should not be marked towards those under the majority age. And although the advertisements may not be targeted at youth, maybe at children are going to see to watch the advertisements. So I think that the companies should focus on positive patterns, and they should show positive drinking practices.
Okay, yes?
What is the health department doing to regulate the tobacco industry?
Okay, that's the question is for you. What is the health department doing to deal with the tobacco advertisements? And I will have to warn you, I may have to cut you off very soon.
Okay. What the health department is doing is they're trying to pass, obviously, various laws and acts to regulate the tobacco industry. For example, they passed the Tobacco Product Control Act in 1993, which basically makes it really tough for tobacco industries to promote their products by direct or indirect means. Also, in 2009, the Family Smoking Prevention Act was passed by Barack Obama, and it basically was regulated tobacco industries through the Food and Drug Administration. And it's also, there's been some controversy over the last recent months where the BAT, which is the British American Tobacco Company, was trying to file suit against the Department of Health, stating that their constitutional rights have been taken away from them as they cannot really have many freedom to promote their products. However, the Supreme Court ruled that it was okay for these commercials to be prohibited because it was better for the general public to not have them all over the TVs because of, as I said earlier, the exposure of young teenagers. There's just a couple of
Okay,
things.
I'm sorry, Max. Thank you for your answer, but I'm going to have to cut you off there. We'd like to thank you all for your questions, and thank you again for coming to this panel, and have a great rest of the day.